What's good? You're listening to Daniel and Gian talk shit. I peaked like a motherfucker right there.
Yeah, I thought so. But anyway.
Another one. So, So LaVar Ball went from $1 billion for his Big Baller brand shoes to $3 billion if a company...
I still don't even know. I didn't even know about this $1 billion.
So initially he said like if Nike, Adidas, Reebok, et cetera, wanted his boys under a shoe contract, he was looking for $1 billion for his brand. So that
he's their manager, right? We established that he's their...
Yeah, right now he's their manager. So he wanted $1 billion for the Big Baller brand, his logo, and for his kids to endorse their shoes, to do like a co-production with these guys. Of course, they said no.
So they still wouldn't even be Nikes, even if Nike were like, here's $1 billion.
Well, it would be like the Jumpman. You know, like Air Jordans don't have the Nike swoosh on them. The boxes don't have the swoosh on them.
But everyone knows they're Nikes?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It would be the same kind of... That's the deal he's looking for. But obviously with him as a large proprietor, you know, not just a buyout. So I don't know where the $1 billion thing comes into play. But now, since they rejected him, Colin Cowherd asked him, like let's say Lonzo does good in summer league, and
they're like, yeah, let's get him.
Let's get him. He's like, fuck that. Now, if they want me, it's going to be $3 billion.
$1 billion for each kid?
Yep.
What do you have to say about that,
dude?
Because I feel like
the big.
I don't even know.
The guy's not that fucking good. That's the problem, man. He's not LeBron James.
$3 billion.
Peep game. If this kid was LeBron out of high school and LeBron's dad was there and pulled some shit like that, I might have been like,
you know what?
Maybe. Because LeBron, since he was 14 years old, was like already hooping on everybody.
So do you think LeBron right now? Do you think LeBron James is worth $1 billion, like for a shoe deal?
No.
And he's the hottest basketball player playing, right? Would you agree or disagree?
I'd say he's the best basketball player.
Who's the hottest then? Are you going to say Steph Curry?
I think
whoever it is.
I think KD's taking some of his shine. I mean,
who do you think is in terms of Google? Oh, I'll Google it. I want to see who's like.
I mean, fuck. I feel like Russell Westbrook might be.
What do you think the number one selling basketball jersey is? For like, yeah, I'll just see. Let me just see.
I think it's Kevin Durant on the Warriors.
Active players, yeah, because otherwise it'd probably include like Shaq and Kobe and shit.
Right, Kobe might still have the number one jersey.
Right. So who's your pick?
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant is ranked number 3. Number 2 is LeBron James.
Who's number 1? Russell Westbrook.
He's number 4. Steph Curry is number 1.
Still.
So then Steph Curry would be the most popular. In my opinion, that's...
No, definitely.
I think that's a good quantifier.
There's something that Steph Curry has.
Do you think he's worth $1 billion?
These other guys. No.
So then there's no athlete other than maybe Jordan who's worth $1 billion shoe-wise.
Right, exactly.
Would you say Jordan is worth $1 billion?
Maybe now, yeah, because his brand has now become like...
synonymous with
the NBA.
Active in collecting.
I mean, there's this argument to be had, like the NBA, nobody give a fuck about the NBA until Michael Jordan and his shoes came out. Like before, it was always a secondary sport. In the 80s, it was all baseball. And then Michael Jordan turned...
You know, I've never thought about it like that, but when you watch like movies that take place in the 70s and 80s, like who is talking about basketball?
Nobody.
Well, I'm saying like the certain people who are talking about it are like would be considered like the underground people now.
Right.
You know, they wouldn't be like a big up and up. That's funny. I never even thought about it.
Yeah,
I don't know if what I said made any sense, but like it felt more in the movies. It feels like basketball is a little bit more of like an underground sport. Yeah, like a UFC.
Right.
Like people watch it, people know about it, but it's not like fucking. Oh, are you watching the NBA finals? Like, are you gonna watch LeBron? Blah blah blah.
The
whatever.
NBA didn't take off as a big like brand sport, whatever you want to call it, until the 80s. It started with Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson. They got the ball rolling, but then Jordan came out, and Nike, who was at that time, I think they were the number 3 shoe brand in the NBA because Converse and Adidas were above them. They put all their eggs in one basket in this Jordan kid, And
Well, it paid off.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, they started doing the videos with Spike Lee.
Oh yeah. I do know. I know those videos.
Like
yeah.
I never watched Jordan live as a kid. I watched him on VHS, like
So did I.
slam dunk shit.
So did I. Yeah, slam dunk videos. Those
it was-
like remix tapes, whatever.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's like, and it was Jordan, it was Nike. Like it turned into a brand thing.
Do those still exist? Like
No,
those
I
like
don't think so. People don't watch that shit anymore.
that was back in the day. That was hella throwback. Like
Oh, yeah.
you would see like you would hear the rumors like, oh yeah, one time Shaq like broke the backboard, but you couldn't like there was no YouTube and shit. You had to go
one
buy
of
the
these compilation
tape
tapes,
that had
yeah.
it. Isn't that so fucking funny? Like how like time has just changed. I mean,
I'm sure people are still watching dunk videos on YouTube and stuff,
shit.
but it's not the same.
it's not the same feeling.
It's not going to Blockbuster and renting. This
It was all
video.
allegedly
Yeah.
until you like, no, look, I'll bring the tape over, and then you roll the tapes. And
Oh yeah,
then you're like, oh,
and there's all
shit.
kinds of. They had like these
Skateboarding ones,
for everything. Yeah,
every sport.
baseball ones, but basketball really pushed it, really Nike, and I think that's Jordan's what made it take off and turn into an international thing, like the whole world.
Do you think? And I'm, I'm like a semi-serious, but serious at the same time. Do you think basketball would be as popular as it is if black people didn't play it?
No,
Like remotely as successful, or like not even?
No.
Do you think basketball would
It would
be
be
where it
hockey.
is as a sport today if black people didn't play?
no, it would be hockey.
Well, I'm just saying, like in terms of like the way the game is played, in terms of like the athleticism that. I
No,
mean,
definitely
obviously,
not.
this sounds super racial, but like I hope people understand what I'm trying to.
In the
my
50s,
point.
the game looked completely different than it does now.
Exactly. You watch those old.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not the
besides
same.
like the shorts that they would wear that would like super high
Right,
tops,
but
but
no,
like
there were no. It's baseball. Baseball wouldn't be the same
exactly
right now. I'm not even saying black players. If there was
any
if there was no Latino players,
Hispanics, yeah,
the Latino players are the ones that basically introduce hot dogging. You know, they're
Hot dogging?
They're the ones that were shaking their ass in the at home plate. They were the ones doing like. Whenever they made a play, like the shortstop, some shortstop from Venezuela.
Oh, like the pop,
Yeah,
like
the
pop,
flair.
yeah.
There's flair and there's style that wasn't there in baseball before, and people got pissed off about it. Some people still get pissed off about it, but the Latin players
I know what you're talking about.
brought
Yeah.
a lot to the game that wasn't there before. You know, I mean, it's just the game
It'd
was
be
going on.
hockey.
It'd be hockey. No, just
No, it's true because hockey is a predominantly white sport. I would assume.
definitely. Definitely.
Well, maybe not.
I mean,
guess
there's
if,
a
like,
reason why. I mean, I have a theory about this, but there's a reason why basketball has surpassed. I don't know if it's surpassed. Baseball's a weird sport, man. Baseball's really huge regionally. Like I think that the Dodgers are still the biggest team in this town because the Lakers haven't been good.
You mean in Los
so long.
Angeles? Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
You
I mean,
know?
the LA Times just released an article about it, saying that there was obviously it's a poll, but I'm just saying that everyone's ranking was in LA. The Dodgers were number one.
Right. It's a Dodger town.
What's annoying is the Angels were on this poll.
That's funny.
Dude, I fucking hate that shit. I know it's not really on topic, but it's like the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. That's their team name officially right now. So if you were like an alien species and you came down and you're like, what is this baseball team? Who is playing? And then like they explain and they're like, what does, Los Angeles mean? And then you break down like what these words mean and how it just doesn't make any sense. The Angels of Anaheim.
Oh yeah.
Like if you translate it, the Spanish to English.
Right.
So it's the Angels of Anaheim.
I mean, the only claim they can make is the Angels franchise started in LA.
It did. A
So-
lot of people don't know that actually.
So it could be like
And they were the California Angels.
it could be like the LA Rams who were playing in Anaheim when they came back. That's why a lot of people say the Rams lost their fan base in SoCal, and not why they moved in the first place. It's because they went from LA to Anaheim, and then nobody.
That's a big jump,
and nobody,
in my opinion.
and
it's a big
nobody in
jump.
Orange County was going to their games, and that's why they moved to St. Louis.
Well,
Eric Dickerson is
well,
like
now LA
big
has
on
3
that.
football
Yeah.
teams. Or no, 2?
I have 2.
2.
3.
We
if
didn't
you
get the
count
Raiders.
USC.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's true. Not UCLA, that's for sure. But anyway, I don't remember what we were talking about.
No, I was
though.
saying how baseball is like a regional sport. Like
Oh,
baseball
yeah,
is
yeah.
really big in the town. Like
Your theory, yeah.
like the radio stations, like everybody listens to their local radio stations. The national broadcasts don't do as well, but the local broadcasts are great. They're making tons of money locally. But basketball on a national level has surpassed baseball because I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. Basically, I guess what I'm coming by is like you know how there's been less and less black people in baseball over the years.
It's hard to name. I yes, I agree. I think we had a conversation about this a long time ago when we were at USC, and I told you that when I saw Hanley Ramirez for the first time,
You thought it was a black guy.
I thought it was a black guy. And then I heard him talk and speak Spanish. I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
right.
Because I was away from baseball for a while, and then like I came back, and it was around 2013, 2012 is when I started watching it again. And then
The Giants brought you back in, huh?
no, you did, because like you were fucking talking too much shit. And so I'm like, well, I got to pay attention to have a conversation with this guy. And then I got back.
Still winning.
Who won today?
The Dodgers and Giants have played 3 series so far, and they've lost all 3 series to the Giants.
Anyway, we're not talking about right now. Anyway, so I thought he was a black player, and then I found out he wasn't. And then you're like, yeah, name me like 5 black players playing right now. And I fucking couldn't. Like,
do it now.
Adam Jones.
Okay. That's 1. Keep going.
You know, I knew you were going to ask me, and this whole time I was telling this story, I was trying to think of more black people, and I couldn't. D. Gordon is 2.
Okay.
I'm talking active, too. Fuck. Man. Do you know 5? Don't answer, but do you know 5?
I was thinking about it.
Probably it's going to be rough.
All right, let's pull our sources together.
Brandon Phillips.
Is he black?
Yeah, he's
black.
He's black.
Andrew Tolles?
Yeah, he's black.
Josh Harrison, that's 5.
I don't know who Josh Harrison is.
He's a third baseman for the Pirates.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
And Andrew
Andrew
McCutcheon is
McCutcheon.
6.
They all played on the Pirates. Wasn't there one of their closers black? No.
Dodgers black, that's it.
Fernando Rodney. Is he black?
He's Dominican.
Fuck.
Well, I mean,
fuck Fernando.
If we're going to be technical, like he's part of the African diaspora of the Americas.
Well, he looked black. He's not black.
Well, he is.
He's Dominican American. You're right.
We're throwing that shit out there, but he is not black. He's just not African. He's just not American. You know.
So he's black. So I'm right.
Well,
he's from Belize.
He's black, but he's not When we say we're talking African American, you know.
Oh, okay.
Like Canley Jansen doesn't count because he's from the fucking Aruba or whatever the fuck he's from.
I thought he was fucking like a beaner.
That was 5, exactly 5. That was it.
That's all we can come up with.
No, there's a guy. What's his name? Aaron Judge.
African right now? American
for
New
York Yankees.
Players.
The guy that's smashing.
I mean, like high profile people. You can't really.
Well, they're saying people are in New York are saying Aaron Judge is going to have.
CC Sabathia. I didn't know he was black.
He's black.
See, that's tough because I feel like
David Price.
I think CC Sabathia's dad is from South America, so does he count?
Bro, Google says it. Okay.
I'm just saying his last name is Sabathia.
He's half.
His dad is like.
Well, yeah, but his first name's CC, so.
him plus his Jeter.
His dad's from Guyana.
His first name is 2 letters. that like.
What's his actual
that
name?
Elevates his
that
blackness.
Makes him American.
Yeah.
All right.
So
6.
That was really racist of me. You know, fuck. I can't believe CC's still playing. Dude,
Barely.
He's like fucking.
He's just hanging
800
on.
pounds.
He's hanging on by a thread.
Wasn't he like? Didn't he go to?
Was Prince Fielder black?
Alcoholics Anonymous
Prince
or something?
Fielder, yes.
Prince Fielder was but he doesn't play anymore. He's not active.
Yeah, I think yeah he had a booze problem.
It sucks. I mean, I like CC because he was always a bigger player.
Jackie Robinson.
I know. I looked it up. It was there. It did say Jackie Robinson. Derek Jeter. It lists. He's not active, but
well, he's half black.
I didn't.
Him plus CC.
I guess it's stretching. Like they even added Michael Jordan to the list.
Willie Mays.
So like that's how limited this list is. If you add Michael Jordan to
Hank
it.
Aaron.
Jimmy Rollins.
Well, there was like a renaissance in the
Jason Hayward.
After Jackie Robinson, there was a renaissance between the 50s and the up to the 80s, I think, and in the 80s is when
Matt Kemp
slowly started. My theory. Here's my theory, guys.
Dexter Fowler.
Some people don't agree with me. There's 2 reasons why there's no black people in baseball anymore.
Troy Hawkins.
The first reason is pretty obvious. It's economic. Baseball has become an expensive ass fucking sport. To be a competitive baseball player, you got to have lessons. You got to be on a travel team. You got to have all the top equipment all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And if you're from the inner city, you can't afford that shit. You know what I mean? It's just too expensive. They've been priced out of the game. And my second...
well, unless you're a poor kid in the Dominican Republic.
Well, that's different
because you're just so talented that they're like, we'll give you all the nice shit. Just come with us for free.
Dude, it's you know it doesn't work like that, right? They just pluck kids from villages and they throw them in this academy. They give them up until like they're 13 to see if they have any promise at all.
Survival of the fittest.
And if they don't, they send them back to the village. And then from 13 to 18, or to 16 actually, because 16 is when you can actually sign.
Second round.
The second round, then again, and then some of them stay till they're 18.
Isn't that amazing how like
it's a meat factory.
the people who
It's like a
make it,
draft.
the people who actually make it to the MLB through this,
They've been through some shit.
yeah, and then they still might not even like have a good career, and they made it.
Just play minors their whole life.
What do you think? Who do you think is like? Do you think? Well, no, I don't. Well, I don't know if this should turn into a whole baseball discussion,
Justin Upton
but
Oh, BJ Upton.
and BJ.
BJ,
Oh, excuse me. He's Melvin Upton Jr.
Jackie Bradley Jr. is also
Oh, there's the other guy that there's two guys on the Red Sox. They're
Dexter Fowler.
the best player.
Coco Crisp.
No,
Coco.
the best player on the Red Sox right now.
Jackie Bradley.
No, it's not Jackie Bradley. It's the other guy.
Oh, this year?
David Price.
The other outfielder. David Price is another guy.
What's his
There's another
Mookie Betts.
Mookie
Oh,
Betts.
Mookie. Well, with the name like Mookie. I mean, Mookie's black in Spike Lee's
I'm
movie.
just saying,
so
right now the Red Sox have the most black players on their team, and they were the last team to integrate.
Like good ones.
That's the best part.
Well, you know, I don't know what to say about that. Do you feel like I've been actually thinking about this a lot lately? Do you feel like people like Babe Ruth deserve the recognition that they do? And I'm talking about with their statistics.
Can you change my? I swear to God, I need to go just a little hotter.
With their statistics,
You were yelling at first.
do you feel like their statistics are valid because they didn't play with black people?
I mean, I feel like there should be an asterisk there.
Everybody, every player that played prior to the
I think it should be noted that I don't know, it's weird.
I'm just saying.
I've never been a Babe Ruth truther. You know,
What do you mean you don't like him?
No, I mean he didn't do anything to me.
Well, no, I'm saying like you don't think he deserves
When you have
respect.
people out there like saying that he's the greatest baseball player that
I believe
ever
he is.
lived, I don't think so. I think he played in a generation where
Yeah,
he was able to. He was the best player of his generation. Which this is the problem with baseball is you can't compare player with player.
How can you? Yeah, like what you just said. How can you make that comparison? Because if okay, let's just say if Albert Pujols was playing when Babe Ruth was playing, he might be considered the greatest baseball player of all time.
He might have
because he was playing a game that people weren't playing at that time.
He might have hit 90 home runs in a year. Who fucking knows?
But I'm just saying though. Yes, you're right. It's not fair to compare someone like that to him. But where do you like? Do you not consider him to be great?
No,
I mean, what he did with his
for
pitching.
what he did. See that's the first thing people always go to. Oh, well, he pitched and he did that. You know what? That kind of tells me if he can do both, that means the people he was
The
playing with
talent
weren't
wasn't
that
there
fucking good.
back
They could
then.
get away with it because nobody can do it now. And with the technology that we have now,
do you think
Babe Ruth put his bat down? Turn me down just a little bit, Carlos. Babe Ruth, once the season was over, his bat went into his fucking bag. His glove went into his bag, and he did not touch any of that
That's
shit.
what I was just about to say.
And the rest of the guys didn't either.
He was exactly, but it was different. It was people can't pitch and be a hitter like that because they can't focus on both equally and be good.
Well, I'm giving you the opposite. I'm giving you the other side of that. The other side of that argument is like the other people he was playing with were so bad that he could get away with doing both.
So so that's what I'm saying. He had a modern day.
If he played now,
he had a modern day outlook on things, but he was living back then.
I don't know if that's the case, but
Well, that's what you're saying. If he's approaching baseball, or obviously he being
he didn't
any
pitch his
baseball
entire
player,
career.
but-
He pitched with the first.
No, he pitched
three or
4 seasons.
Yeah.
and that's it.
I don't know what did he do offensively those first 3 or 4 seasons. I mean, I don't think his
Good.
greatness didn't start until after he stopped pitching.
He was pitching good. I mean, hitting well. He wasn't Babe Ruth,
Okay,
but he was hitting well.
it's like Bo Jackson. Everybody wants to remember Bo Jackson, fantasize about him. Well, he was, he's a pretty good football player.
So then
He was
we're
an okay baseball player.
okay. Right now, let's Bumgarner, Kershaw. Like, what would be the farthest back you could compare a pitcher to them? Like,
See, that's the other thing, man. That's it. The mounds used to be higher.
I know. So
And
what do
every
you?
field was
So
different.
what's your cutoff?
I mean, you have to look up when they did.
Could you compare Kershaw to Koufax? 'Cause that happens all the time.
When they did unified rules, I think the game changed. I mean, there's just so many different arguments about it. Like the talent pool is now. Okay, back then there was 18 teams when Koufax was playing, so he had to face the murderer's row all the fucking time. Kershaw doesn't. Kershaw faces a shitty team every so often. Most of the time, he'll face shitty teams because there's 30 teams in the league now. The talent pool has been stretched out. I think right now we're in this weird. I think we're in the least talented phase of baseball right now because people are playing football, people are playing basketball. You know, those are the only two sports that would take baseball players. Everybody else would.
Well, that's okay. So then, how far back can you compare them to? Because like, does that mean you can't compare Pedro Martinez to Kershaw?
You can't compare eras, man. I think you can compare. I think that's
Pedro to
the closest thing you can compare is the last era versus the modern era. That's like those two eras. They're and even then you can make exceptions.
I mean, because even then it was a different ball game. I mean, you just look
at least the rules were unified. That's the one thing. Like
sure.
the mound was the same height as you know.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you can't make comparisons, but it's fun, I guess, to an extent. But then when you really look at it, you're right because, I mean, just looking at the generation I grew up with, that was like around the strike era, where you had Roger Clemens, the steroids era. Like that's a completely different ballgame than it is today. I should say.
Absolutely.
I mean, just thinking back on like how many times I'd watch, Roger Clemens pitch. Maybe longer than he should have, or like, or a reliever went on 2 innings, instead of like you had middle relievers. You didn't have like, this guy's left-handed, this guy's right-handed, this guy's whatever. Like, let's change.
Well, I think the specialist thing has been around for like almost 30 years now.
Well, yeah, but I think it's gotten. I mean, what did Joe Madden do it like every other batter or something like that?
It's gotten even more specialized now for sure. Like,
and then people hitting into the shift.
The introduction of sabermetrics is really changed the game.
So do you feel like players that become great now, like Mike Trout is arguably the greatest baseball player of all time then, right? If he's playing well with all of these,
if he keeps playing at the same clip,
and he retires like this, I
think you could make
maybe he has the gradual downturn.
Right. I mean, older. I think the consensus is if you do 10 years, you have to have 10 years of solid like.
It's hard to maintain it, man.
Yeah, if the production is exactly the same for those 10 years.
Bumgarner didn't play 10 years before he got injured.
Well, he got injured riding a fucking dirt bike.
I know. So, that's what I'm saying. It's hard to. I mean, I think contractually he's not supposed to do physical activity like that.
He's a fucking moron. But that's he didn't get hurt,
and he might not come back the same.
He might not,
and that's the truth.
You can't blame his injury on baseball though. That's
no, for sure.
You know, so that's
he fucked his. If he
fucked himself up,
it wasn't.
I mean, there's so much shit that's different, man. It's just.
So then you would think if he played 10, 15 years at the rate he's playing, that he could have a case for being the greatest of all time.
I think he could make it because I feel like Mike Trout is a generational player. Like he's a LeBron James.
You can't compare anyone to Mike Trout.
He's a Michael Jordan. He's a guy that came out. And the fucked up part is he's playing in Anaheim, so he's not getting like the love and the press that
he's getting. The money for sure.
No, he's getting paid.
He should be, honest to God, he should be a Yankee.
Oh yeah, no, he'd be a great Yankee.
I think New York would love him. I think. I haven't heard.
He's
anything.
from New Jersey, so
that's even better.
Yeah.
I haven't heard a peep. Like in terms
of no
like,
bad press.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which what New York people they just love that shit. Like,
right.
You bring any baggage, they're gonna go all over it the moment you start playing bad. Isn't his brother special needs, right?
I don't know about all that. See,
doesn't he? Oh no. Oh, who does
Jock Peterson?
Jock Peterson's brother plays with who though?
Jock Peterson's
son?
brother likes Albert Pujols.
Oh man, I don't know. Never mind then. Sorry, I don't know why I said that. I thought he had a little brother. But anyway, yeah. But it's just
I love how we went from fucking
Lonzo
LaVar Ball to baseball.
Basketball.
That's why I said I don't know if this we can transition at any time.
No, that's fine.
I was just trying to say that I don't know. I don't even know how we transition.
I was trying to talk about
why. Oh, I asked you if you think anybody's worth $1 billion. That's how we can circle back.
Definitely. There's no athlete on the planet worth $1 billion. None.
$1 billion's a lot.
That's a lot of fucking money.
Do you think Jordan's worth $1 billion right now?
No.
Michael Jordan.
His net worth, no way.
Jordan's name? Would you say? I feel like he barely makes anything off those.
Would you say that? Well, he's worth $1.2 billion.
Oh shit!
Would you say that he's the most famous athlete?
Oh fuck yeah!
Ever?
Motherfucker's been retired for how long now, and people still know
Plus
his
the
name.
shoes, like
So
just
he
It's the
carries on
shoes.
his
The
name.
shoes have become
carries
the
in.
shoes don't even have anything to do with basketball anymore. The shoes are like
Michael earned. It
Fashion.
says. Let's see what this says. This is on CelebrityNetwork.com. I don't know if that's like a accurate
He's a
place,
meme,
but
like he's everywhere. He's still relevant.
even though he has not played in over a decade, he still earns about 80 to 100 million per year from endorsements. Michael earns 60 million every year from Nike, Jordan brand royalties. Yeah, so that was
60 million
a year
Shit.
from Nike, Jordan
That's
brand
just for his
royalties.
name.
That's
Yeah.
not nothing.
That's fucking. That's
During his playing days,
he's still doing Hanes commercials.
yeah,
He's still doing Gatorade commercials every so often. Although I haven't seen him in a Gatorade commercial.
I haven't seen him in
in
a Gatorade commercial, but I'm sure like when they do that throwback commercial, that's $1 million. I'm sure.
It's just iconic when you.
I
see
mean, they
him.
just did
It's
that
like-
commercial not that long ago where he was playing his younger self.
I didn't see that.
Was that a Gatorade commercial?
Maybe it could have been. Yeah, I didn't see that. So yeah, it's just I was just looking at his salary between.
I could we can't. You would have to ask like someone like your parents' age to ask them who the athlete was that they talked about all the time, because by the time you were old enough to really like realize it, Michael Jordan was done.
How much money do you think Michael Jordan made in his career? I have the figure, but I'm just curious.
I think he's made way less than Kobe as a basketball
Six
just
billion.
as a basketball player.
Just basketball salary.
I'm gonna say $80 million.
93 million. That's crazy.
How many years? did he
LeBron's
play?
got
You
that.
know, he was-
LeBron got that in his last contract.
Exactly, I know. That's what I'm. So,
How many years did he play?
17 years or something.
yeah, almost or close to 20. So in 84, 85 rookie
I mean, I would
season.
take that. I would take that.
Oh, for sure. His rookie season, 550,000. Okay. 88, 89 season, it was 2 million, and it averaged about 2 million.
It's like 2 or 3
It
million.
averaged about 4 million for the next 10 years. And then 96 to 98, he was making 30 million a year. And then when he played for the Wizards, it was only $1 million a year because he had ownership in the
Yeah,
team and all that
he
shit.
was just doing it for fun. I
But,
think I'm assuming that the veteran minimum by then was $1 million, and that's why.
So I'm just curious what fucking Kobe made. Kobe,
Not that much.
You talk about Kobe's last contract was for like 80 million.
it was a lot. Kobe made a lot of money when he
Just his
renewed
last contract.
because he had a 2-year
Just his
extension
last.
and it was like fucking ridiculous buku money, and he didn't even play because he got
How
injured.
much is Kobe worth?
I'm looking right now. It's loading.
Was it Jordan 1.2 billion?
1.2 was Jordan. Oh my god.
Well, that's net worth with like all of his
of the
endorsements
assets and everything. Investments.
I had the Kobe's. There was like the Kobe 2s, I think, where
The
they were like
Adidas or the Nike Kobe's.
shit. I don't know. They looked like fucking space shoes. Like you just slipped them on. Like it looked weird. Like I don't know. I think those were.
I remember he had the black and white Adidas because he was the first guy to sign
Okay,
with
it's
Adidas
loading.
instead
Kobe
of Nike.
2s.
I had to disable my fucking stupid shit. Kobe Bryant is worth $350 million. Behind Floyd, blah, 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 blah. Jessica Alba is worth $340 million. I didn't know that. I'm trying to look how much he made in his playing career, but $680 million in salary and endorsements during his 2-decade career. My computer froze. Nice. So yeah, I don't know why we're talking about this, but
We're just
These.
bullshitting.
I had these.
those are ugly as fuck. Those are Adidas too.
Well, send
That's
it to
some
me.
fucking straight out. What are those?
Dude, they
What
are.
are those? Those look like pillow shoes.
Those are terrible. That just shut off.
Put that back on.
They're worth
Um,
$200 now.
They're worth $200. Benches clear between Giants and Dodgers.
Oh, today? I didn't even hear about it. Who cares? Anyways, why don't we get to what we're like 30 minutes in already. Let's talk about King Arthur, Legend of the Sword.
Yeah, let's do it.
What'd you think?
Sorry, I got a text about the equipment. Actually, I want to hear your opinion first. No, I did watch it. I want to hear your opinion first.
I thought it was a Guy Ritchie movie set in a fantasy world.
Okay, similar thoughts.
Had a lot of his standard
Callbacks
Yeah,
to
a
his
lot
older
of jumps,
movies.
like a lot of editing that was exactly
Okay,
the
but
same.
did you
the
like it?
pacing. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I didn't love it, but it was I
So
had a good time eating my popcorn with my feet kicked up. You know?
I agree 100%, and I didn't understand like 26% Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
Like,
people are stupid. Like, what are you expecting?
but But I will say that when the snake came in towards the end,
The giant snake.
like the movie got really fucking stupid there. Like to the point where I'm like, wow, like you ruined a good movie by like not finishing the right. Like I felt like the writer died there. Like they gave up, or like maybe they only filmed up to a certain point.
It
And
went
then
Wild Wild West.
it was, well, not
It
even
went
that.
Kevin Smith's Superman fucking movie where they wanted a giant spider.
Sure, but I was gonna say I liked Wild Wild West, but at least Wild Wild West comes together at the end.
You and you alone.
That might be, but you know what? Because, and I actually want to talk specifically about that because I want to, maybe I just misunderstood it or something. Because I know that previously in the movie, there's a lot of like alluding to things. Like it teeters this mysticism world, but like still real. Like, you know what I mean? Because
Well,
if
there was
there's
a
the
lot
mages,
of magic being used.
right? But it still wants to be like taken seriously as like real and gritty. I feel like,
Right.
but
I'm sure that was Guy Ritchie.
oh, of course, I'm sure.
Trying to keep
that
it
was his
grounded.
spin. That was his spin on it. But why this fucking snake shit just came out of nowhere and ran? Like the scene is the son is going to confront his uncle, right? So King Arthur is going to confront his uncle, and you feel like something's going to happen. It's leading
Right.
up to something, and you have this other mage. I don't know her name. I don't remember.
That's supposed to be Merlin.
Is it supposed to be?
I
Merlin?
think that's Merlin. That kind of confused me because they mentioned like, oh,
He.
you work for
They used-
Merlin.
They used the he.
You know, and that kind of like, I mean, why the fuck do we got to keep on doing gender bender shit, man?
Well, you don't know because I'm sure it's supposed to be revealed in the sequel, which will never fucking happen now, which is another thing we can talk about because it sucks. Because I would love to watch a sequel to this movie. But anyway, so the
oh,
mage.
they just call her the mage. That's her name.
Yeah,
right?
so it probably is a twist at some point. Yeah, I didn't think she had a name. But anyway, she sends like this serpent into the room, right?
Right.
And like King Arthur's talking to his fucking uncle, and then he sees the snake on the wall and he cuts the snake's head off. And then you think like, okay, now we're back to like one-on-one. Like this is where the movie's been leading to finally.
Right.
You know, King Arthur said like, I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm doing it for basically for me, right? Like,
Right.
I want to kill you for my personal reasons, not to like help anybody out or anything. And then this fucking huge mammoth snake comes in the room. Like you think they're gonna square off, and a huge snake comes in the room.
I thought he was trapped.
Who was trapped?
Arthur was trapped.
Yeah, he was surrounded. Like, but a fucking
No, like he didn't have he gave up the sword.
he did
And turned himself in.
right.
So
But
they weren't going to have a face off.
But it just felt
It was they needed. I mean, say whatever you want. You didn't like it, but they needed that scene to justify him getting
a
his
sword back.
That was the only.
I
how
got
else was he
that.
supposed to get his sword back?
I don't know. I just feel like it. You know what? What bothered me about
I mean,
it
the
is
CGI
it
wasn't
was
that great. It wasn't the best looking giant snake.
It was payoff without setup. Because they set up the big snake when he's going through that like dark mystical place or whatever,
Right.
and you see it very briefly, and like you see a lot of reactions of him reacting to something, but you don't know what it is.
Right.
And I feel like that was what Guy Ritchie was like. There's this bigger presence. We don't show you until that moment, but to me, that's not an effective setup. Like you could have shown this big beast
Right.
way back then, and then it's a call. But it just felt weird. Like, does the mage summon that snake?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
From where though? Like that to me, it rubbed me in the wrong way where I felt like I just started thinking about it, and then it became mindless action at that point. Like the stakes were gone.
I mean,
and then there's that stupid like boss battle between him and his. I just
right. That was kind of video game. I mean, if there's issues with the movie, that one would be the one that I didn't even think about it. Like
I think that's like the only problem with it for me.
The thing, what I like
That
shit that I picked up on like was okay. The mage's acting was terrible. That was one thing.
She was pretty bad.
She wasn't that hot to cast her either. Like if you're gonna cast a shitty actress, cast a hotter one. Not saying she's ugly, but you know what I mean. And then so when they burn the underground cave down, they kill everyone and they capture the mage and the little kid. The guy Freddy, they call him Rubio. Rubio was the one.
What underground cave?
Where they were hiding out outside of the town.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And they go to meet up with everybody and everybody's dead.
Right, yeah.
There was no like torture scene, nothing. There was no like that was I had an issue.
There was no setup. It was
That guy
just,
snitched, and there was no reason to snitch. We had no like I wasn't even in.
I didn't even think about that.
I had no
The one
what's the word I'm looking for?
motivation.
No, it's not the motivation, but this Rubio guy, I didn't give a fuck about him because he was barely on screen.
This guy with the white hair, right?
He was a younger kid with the blonde hair.
Oh, the little boy.
No, he wasn't little. He
Which
was
one are
like
you talking
he was
about?
probably like a teenager, like early 20s.
Oh, the one that the one
got
that captured.
wounded.
Yeah, he got wounded,
and
then
he's a guy that he was a turncoat.
and you're like, what the fuck? Who cares about him? And he snitched.
Yeah, like there was.
Okay, yeah.
They didn't invest him, and maybe if it was the dad, like his homeboy that was stabbed, and he ended up getting his throat slit on the
Right,
dock.
and then you're like, fuck.
that would have been a better payoff. I mean,
But it was just some random.
yeah, it was just a random dude, and then he snitched on everybody, got everybody fucking murdered, got the fucking maids. Like, who the fuck is this guy? And
That's
like,
true.
you were sacrificing your life to save Arthur, but now you fucking snitch on everybody right away.
like nothing.
Or maybe they like went into his brain. Like there was just no explanation.
There's no
for
explanation. No, okay. I actually thought you were talking about the scene when they go to the burned cave, and there's that dude who's wearing the armor with the white hair. I forgot his name. The
it.
one.
Right.
And he just
Straight
just
out of
shows
Game of
up.
Thrones too. That guy would be working for Cersei Lannister.
Oh, for sure. He shows up and he's like, move out of the way or whatever. And like they let him walk away, like they let him go.
Right.
But it was just like there's no setup to it because
No.
they didn't show like they just cut away. They're like, oh, we'll get you to talk or whatever, and then they cut away, and then it
I'm
was
wondering if they cut that scene for time. Like they had.
They
the
might
scene
have.
and
I mean,
they
it was
cut
a
for
2 hour
time.
and
because it was
5
already
minute
it was a
movie.
long movie.
But they could have cut time from that fucking ending.
Oh, there was a lot. They could have cut shit from. They could have cut shit from all over the movie.
And I mean,
because
but
I thought it was going fast because of his like.
oh, for sure.
His setup, like his whole like his childhood to adulthood went so fucking fast.
Which I liked.
Yeah, I liked it too, and I thought, okay, cool. We're just gonna jump right into it. We're not doing the whole fucking.
That's what I liked.
That was great, but then after that, it got kind of long. I still had a good time as I watched it, but it got kind of long.
I liked his montage editing and this one actually a lot. I mean, because I'm like, man, because I didn't know what like story they were gonna tell with King Arthur. I had no idea. And then so then Eric Bana, I'm like, oh, cool. And it was just a different. I mean, that opening scene is cool. It was like Lord of the Ringsy.
Yeah.
I mean, the sound design was good, at least in the theater I saw it in. But it wasn't perfect. But I think what's annoying. What do you feel about this? So I'm going to present an idea to you, and then you give me your opinion on it. Do you feel like this movie, if Rotten Tomatoes didn't exist or something like that, like some big site or Hollywood Reporter, like any trades,
Right.
do you think this movie would have made money?
No.
Like if it wasn't influenced by anybody, like
I'm gonna say that it had less to do with the critics' influence and more to do with Guardians of the Galaxy.
so do you think that okay,
I think it went head to head
with the wrong fucking
with the
movie.
wrong movie, even if it was in the second week.
You know what's funny? That this movie was supposed to be released like 4 times, and Warner Brothers, was this a Warner Brothers movie?
I believe so.
Warner Brothers, I'm going to look it up. They pushed it back because they didn't want to compete with certain movies,
Right.
which if you compare
So they
them,
decided to pick the biggest movie.
yeah, I'll
to
show
go
you.
against.
I'll bring it up. But so then you just think it's Guardians then that it didn't make money.
I think that's
even overseas.
I think that's
Because it hasn't made very much money overseas
hasn't made
either.
much money overseas. I couldn't tell you overseas. I feel like people.
I feel like King Arthur is the movie people would want to watch overseas.
I think the movie's gonna make its money on rental. Download rental DVD.
This was supposed to be one of 6, right?
That I didn't know.
Yeah. This is supposed
It was supposed to be their Lord of the Rings.
Yes. So according to Wikipedia, it says hold on one second. I actually scrolled to the top. Fuck. Release. Okay. The film was originally set for a release date of July 22nd, 2016, but on December 21st, they moved the date to December 17th, 2017. And then on July 21st of last year, it would be pushed back again to March 24th, right? But then they pushed that date back because they didn't want to compete with Chips.
They didn't want to compete with Chips.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody's getting
Somebody
fired.
somebody fucked up.
Fucking it.
They didn't want to compete with. So okay, so
Look. For all the fucking DC fanboys out there who are like defending how much money Batman versus Superman made, they always fail to fucking recognize the one key thing about that movie. It came out during a month where there was nothing but shit fucking movies coming out. No big action epics, nothing. Batman vs. Superman was the only movie of that kind for a straight month. And that's why it made so much fucking money, because there was nothing else to watch. And people are like,
I'll go watch it.
I'll go watch it. It's a comic book movie. And that's funny,
that's why I watched it.
It comes from the same fucking place. You would think that they would do the same thing. Like, why would you worry about chips? Nobody gives a fuck about Dax Shepard. Nobody gives a fuck about Michael Pena.
Unfortunately. Those are two great people. But
that's fine, but yeah. But it's also it's a movie about a 70s fucking show.
Yeah, and that's a really...
millennials ain't watching that show. They don't know... They know nothing about chips.
Box office. What do you think the box office for Chips was?
For Chips?
It made for $25 million, and it made...
40.
25.4 million. So it made nothing. It lost money.
Somebody fucked up.
Somebody really fucked up because they thought that movie was tracking to do well enough to be like, oh, fuck, we can't put King Arthur against it.
I mean, does it come down to, like, people just don't know if it's the movie market is so volatile that you don't know what's going to be a success and what isn't? Or was that just someone being fucking dumb?
I think someone fucked up there because, you know what? If this were... if King Arthur were going up against Chips, hear me out, Chips, but with, like, Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum, and let's just assume 21 Jump Street didn't come out, but let's just assume that, and it was from the creative minds of Superbad, from Judd Apatow, like something like that, right?
Yeah, that had that hype behind it.
You could see why they'd be like, you know what, this weekend is not we should probably move it back because this is going to be a big hit. It's a big, stoner comedy or whatever. But your leads are Michael Pena and Dax Shepard from a director which I don't even know. Do you know who made Chips? I don't.
No idea. I had no interest in watching it. And that's funny because
Dax Shepard, written and directed by him. So you knew. Again, this is not no offense to Dax.
I like Dax Shepard,
but
and Michael Pena.
I like both of them a lot. That's what I'm saying. They're both fine, but it's just that movie's not going to compete against King Arthur.
Absolutely not.
A $175 million studio film that has $150 million marketing behind it. You know for a fact that Chips is not going to fucking put a dent on it.
Somebody fucked up.
Somebody did. Because if it were a movie legitimately that stood a chance, Jump Street 3, okay, maybe not that weekend. But then
King Arthur came out the same week as Guardians?
No, the week after. But then it's like, well, then why choose that date? Like, fucking Disney sets their dates out fucking years in advance, right? Like, there's no way you fuck that up. It's like putting your movie against Star Wars.
Somebody wasn't paying attention, man. Well, let's move on from King Arthur. I think we've discussed it. I mean, we could...
You can go into it, but
we could go real film school on it. I don't feel like it. Could you get my volume back up, Carlos?
I feel like the movie was... I feel like this movie was like... what's the movie I liked a lot? John Carter. Like...
Oh, and it... What the fuck?
What? It sounds fine.
No, it peaked like...
Oh, I
don't know. Can you turn the headphone volume up? Maybe that's... Yeah.
Which one's yours?
That's me.
No, I'm the gold one. 3. Yeah. Whatever, that's fine. No, it's better. It just sounded like the volume completely changed.
Like John Carter was a movie where I feel like I wish people fucking saw it, and I wish people didn't write it off because it was actually really good. I'm not saying that this movie is like I just did, but I mean, like, John Carter is way better than this movie. But there's certain movies out there.
I mean, do you think it got affected by... I think John Carter definitely got affected by critics and not so much not so much about release date. That was definitely more of a critic than release date.
It wasn't necessarily the critics thing. Is what Disney fucked themselves they didn't fuck themselves, but they have to report what their incomes are going to, or whatever their earnings, what their projected projected earnings are going to be, and they wrote it off as a loss before the movie even came out. They wrote it off as a $200 million loss.
So they stopped promoting it. Then is what you're saying?
Well, I don't know if they stopped promoting it, but they had to do it in advance for the stockholders, and so, of course, as soon as they do that, the Hollywood Reporter, all their investigators, they see it, and their because taxes are public. So.
I mean, to be fair, I had no interest in watching that movie. Like the trailer,
that's fine.
The trailer just didn't seem like
that's okay. I'd rather
it was an odd premise.
I'd rather you say it didn't seem appealing to me than, you know what, I heard it's shitty. I heard it was dumb.
Yeah, I don't.
To me, those are two different things.
I don't pay attention to the critics when it. You know that.
Well, I'm just saying though, like those are two different things.
Critics are fucking studies majors.
And now a movie can never be another sequel can't be made to this movie or that. Like you'll never see a sequel to this movie.
No, definitely
ever.
Not.
And it's sad because the world he creates is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like I felt Like, yeah, you know what? This is kind of like
I hope
a different style of studio filmmaking.
I hope
'cause
it
it's
doesn't
him.
affect his opportunities in the future.
Oh, I don't think it will.
You know, I mean,
He's
unless
still Guy Ritchie.
if he's still gonna do.
He'll do Sherlock Holmes 3 now for sure. Like Warner Brothers will make him come do Sherlock.
See,
Holmes
that's
3.
funny. Is I didn't like Sherlock Holmes. The first one, I didn't like it at all.
I've only seen the second one and I don't remember it.
Yeah,
Like an ounce of it.
they didn't do anything for me.
Other than a scene with slow motion like explosions, like there's like a scene with like flat cannons or something.
Right.
Which this movie King Arthur made callbacks to because like it was that movie. It was like super slow mo. He was experimenting with like super slow motion. Like
Right. I mean, I feel like that's becoming.
now it is, but I mean,
but in Snatch there was a lot of similar stuff like that.
yeah, no,
going on,
sure,
too.
it's his style, it's his thing. You know, you expect. I actually didn't expect that when I was
Right.
going into King Arthur. I was like, okay, this is gonna be Guy Ritchie going straight. You know, like just a straight up
right.
fantasy, and this was not. It was Guy Ritchie's
Right.
spin on it, which was refreshing to me. But anyway, yeah, we can move on. Yeah, there's
So
nothing
tell
really
me,
much to
tell
say.
me real quick about your.
Oh, speaking of Guy Ritchie though,
God damn it!
did you know he wanted he wants to direct Suicide Squad 2?
I didn't know that.
And he's actually like it's a thing. It might be a thing.
I
Did you think?
I think he should run away screaming from any DC property.
I was gonna say you don't even think he could put a good spin on it.
Dude, it's the scripts. If the scripts aren't there, there's no director that can save them. That's the problem with all the DC movies is the scripts. You know, I'm hearing. I mean, and I'm trying not to pay attention to the critics, but Wonder Woman is not getting good marks from people either.
Oh, I read the
I've
opposite.
I've heard really bad stuff about Wonder Woman.
Well,
Maybe from the feminists, like because it's a female director, they're like trying to pump it up. But
she's not just a female director. She directed Monster. Okay, that's a fucking great movie.
that has nothing to do with fucking superheroes yet again. Just like the fucking Suicide Squad director. Like we keep casting these, you keep picking up the wrong people to direct your fucking movies, man.
Yeah, but you can make that.
What the
argument.
fuck does a fucking female serial killer biopic have to do with Wonder Woman?
She
Not
has-
a goddamn thing.
What does it
That's
have
what
to do
it
with?
has.
What do you have to start by making Wonder Woman movies to make a Wonder Woman movie?
Absolutely.
No.
Give me Catherine fucking Bigelow, dude.
She's never made a Wonder Woman.
What makes you? She's an action film. The
Oh,
only
so
thing
you're-
she's ever fucking directed is action movies,
then
dude.
You
That's
didn't
the
say
thing.
that. You shouldn't
That's
say
the thing.
genre. I know
What-
we had this discussion before.
I
about
know.
Mel Gibson.
It happened again. What the fuck makes you think that this lady can pull something off that she's never done before?
Because
Why would you give her the reins to this super? You know, I don't know.
Well, unfortunately, it's because it works. It's worked in the past.
With who?
The fucking every Star Wars director right now, regardless if you like Gareth Edwards or not.
But that's the difference. There is that Disney has everything under their fucking thumb.
because they know what they're doing.
They have
by
a
now.
formula
Yeah.
and they make you stick to the formula.
But I'm just
You're not
saying,
given
though-
that freedom to branch
But I'm
out.
just saying though, you look at Warner Brothers, and they were successful with Christopher Nolan. Okay, Christopher Nolan never directed an action movie before he did Batman.
But they also let Christopher Nolan do whatever the fuck he wanted to.
I understand. Okay, listen, hold on. I'm just saying. But once you start, in my opinion, my problem with DC and how they fucked up, they decided to do this this multi-shared universe after they had already started making Man of Steel.
I agree with you.
That's why that's where I think they fucked up. So they
Someone-
they had already made Man of Steel.
I know someone who's go off his ass and say that's not true, that they always had that plan, but I don't believe that at
Well,
all.
it's fucking bullshit. You can totally fucking tell because they had one. If it was the first movie in a planned universe, it would have been more than just like, oh, there was Wayne Industries on a satellite, like in one frame that you have to like pause on DVD going frame by frame.
Right.
And it's like, and you're gonna okay, yeah, sure. They fucking live in the DC universe. Even if there wasn't gonna be a Batman, you could still have that reference there and it'd be fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They could have had a Metropolis.
Easter egg.
Yeah, exactly. They could have had a Metropolis reference in Batman movies, the Christopher Nolan ones, but it wouldn't mean it doesn't mean anything. It's just Easter egg, like you said. But after Man of Steel, they decided, oh no, it was actually more, and the next movie is going to be Batman versus Superman. Like what? Why? Like out of nowhere, it comes out of nowhere. I thought they were going to have Man of Steel 2 first.
Right.
And then when I heard Batman versus Superman, I remember like that when that Comic-Con trailer leaked and I watched it, I had the worst feeling in my stomach. It made me feel sick. I mean, I'm serious because I was just like, this is why you haven't even set up Batman. So how are you going to set up them fighting each other? That's the first thing I thought of.
I feel like there's just so much pressure.
Well, they try to catch up and then try to copy the Marvel brand late. I mean, you look at Suicide Squad with all the reshoots and shit now, where it's like,
well, not only that, but they tied themselves to the Zack Snyder boat instead of,
and because it was an afterthought.
Right.
I'm sure Man of Steel was supposed to be Man of Steel, and that was fucking it, and that was like Zack Snyder's version, which is fine. I hate the movie, but whatever, people like it. That's fine. No, I don't. Whatever.
Not a lot of people like it.
But all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, look what the Avengers did. Look what this we can do this with art. We're DC. Like, we should be able to do this.
Was it that or was it fear? Where they're like, oh shit.
If we don't do this, someone's going to come around and do it first or whatever.
I mean, they've just run that.
But I'm just saying, though.
We can keep going ad nauseum, and people who actually watch this that like the DC movies will hate us. But I mean, it's not going in the right direction.
Not at all.
And I feel like this Wonder Woman movie needs to be great, because if it's not,
did you? I didn't send you this article, but
you heard about what's her face fucking saying that Justice League. Well, I mean, she didn't say it explicitly, but they asked her, "Is Justice League going to be as good as the Avengers?" They said, "Can you leak some information for us? And is Justice League going to be as good as the Avengers?" And she said, "No and no. I'm just being honest."
Who was this?
Superman's mom.
Oh,
whatever her name is.
Fuck. Yeah.
Martha.
The older actress. Is it Molly? No, Holly.
It's not a Holly or a Molly.
What the fuck is her name?
I mean, I don't care. She was in Rumblefish. That's all I know.
Anyway, well, what the article was, I think it was the Hollywood Reporter. It was from leaked sources that they've reshot the movie basically twice already. And they're they've added reshoots. They've done pickups 3 times, and they're gonna do it one more time before the movie comes out in a few months. They've shot the movie. There's like 3 versions of this movie,
right?
According to this article. That, I mean, I'm
doing
a terrible job of paraphrasing it, and but it was literally like the headline was like, this movie's been made 3 times.
At the end of the day, it's not a good look.
But the article also left a little glimmer of hope and said, well, maybe studios learned with Rogue One that you really can fix a movie later on, because apparently this was the same thing for Rogue One. I don't know. I'm still curious to see. My thing is, I'd still be very curious to see what Gareth Edwards' Rogue One version was, bad or good.
So that's a director's cut you might actually pick up.
If it ever, it's not going to come out because Disney won't allow it. Because I think in my mind, I still have a little glimmer of hope that he made a movie that wasn't going to fit in the Disney Star Wars brand.
Right.
And once it started to coming together and well, this is too violent, this is too whatever, too something, that they were like, no, we need it to be a little bit more molded.
It was too adult.
And that's my thinking. I don't know. I have no facts to back it up. But
you liked the Godzilla movie and I didn't. So I mean,
I did like the Godzilla movie.
I thought it was trash.
I actually just bought a Godzilla poster from Oz. I lucked out. I got it for $5. It's like a $50 poster.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
I don't even know what Oz is.
Oz is like a. Is this camera still rolling?
Yeah.
Oz is like a. It's like a Halloween store, but like year.
AAHS.
Yeah, it's like a Halloween store around, but like year round.
Like Hot Topic, but without like the goth.
Yeah, that's a good. Hot Topic's a good
All right.
comparison.
Well, before we get caught up on another tangent, which is what seems to keep happening today.
I was just gonna keep talking about
tell me
about the posters I got.
I don't give a fuck about your posters.
I got a Logan Noir poster.
He was about to say something, and then you.
Yeah, tell me about Logan, because
I got a Logan Noir poster.
Okay.
So I could just
tell me about the fucking movie. Just tell me about the movie, because right now you're fucking on our Twitter, making everybody think we're fucking these film fucking snobs.
Who's everybody?
I don't know, the fucking people that aren't looking at our tweets.
So then I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but fucking the black and white.
I'm the only one who retweets our tweets. So
that's not true.
I'm just talking to myself. Why are you hating on that?
I retweeted it too.
Well, then I'm talking to you and me.
Yeah.
So you just have a problem with it then.
Fucking annoyed.
So you represent the other half of
this
of our audience.
Film snob over here.
I thought, all right, motherfucker. I thought Hugh Jackman would read our question. It was a submit a question.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
He didn't read it?
I'm looking now.
Look, honestly, I think they took my question and made it presentable, because there was a question that was literally like my question.
What was your question?
it was just wide as.
it
Okay,
on
let's
your
talk about.
Twitter?
Let's talk about. Hold on. So last night, I watched Logan Noir. That's the official name of it, and it was a one night only screening of the black and white version of Logan, and I spent $15 for it. I got a poster, and then after they had an hour-long Q&A with James and Hugh Jackman, and then one of the producers.
James Mangold.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows that.
Oh. Well, they call him Jim, so I could have been a real douche and said Jim. Everyone calls him Jim, apparently. But anyway, so I fucking, honest to God, I wholeheartedly mean this. I don't know if I'll ever watch Logan again in color. That's how good it was. It felt like this was a movie that... Fuck both of you. I don't care. It was fucking good. It was a different movie. Whatever. I'll just talk to the camera. Camera doesn't tell me to shut up. I could just keep talking.
I want you
and then I could just mute Gian
I
right
want
now
you to
on the
tell me
video
The best.
because I'm the editor on
I
this.
want you to tell me
Just your mic will be
why-
really low and you'll just hear
why.
mine right
I
now.
want you to tell me why you loved it so much without sounding like a film school fucking geek.
Why I liked it better in black and white?
Yes, without sounding like a film school geek. 1, 2, 3, go.
Well, that's not possible. You can't do that because, and I'll explain. Let me explain why first, and then you can judge me on everything.
Okay.
You can't answer a question like that about why you like it without being a film school geek, right? Because that's the only way you can appreciate a black and white version of a movie is by being a geek like that. And here's all. Look, if you showed, I don't know, insert young cousin here that you have, Logan on black and white, they're going to say, why isn't this in color? Most of the kids would do that, right? Because they're so
Right.
used to things in color. Okay, so if you say, well, it's reminiscent of olden movies, they're going to be like, well, what the fuck? Who cares, right? But it still holds some value to some people, right? Regardless if you like, if you're super pretentious or not, black and white movies have significance to people. Whether that's transports them, whatever. But it doesn't have to necessarily be so film schooly. Like, did you see Nebraska?
And I will get that. I didn't
Did you
see
see?
Nebraska. No.
Okay, so real
But
quick.
I will accept that answer if you are 70 years old.
See, that's fucked up. Okay,
No, because what you're saying pretentious or not, it's pretentious as fuck. You can't give me the reason why.
so then you should
reason why-
nothing should be made in black
the
and white.
reason
then,
why
ever.
I mean, there's a reason why people do it.
Unless you do
And
the
it's-
artist,
and it's
unless you're making the artist,
and it's for pretentious reasons.
so
Nobody-
black and white shouldn't exist.
black and white. If you want to make a pretentious movie, that's fine.
So if by
But if
making
you know you're doing it, that's cool. Kevin Smith didn't make Clerks black and white because he wanted to. He made it because that was the cheapest film stock he could get. That's
yeah,
the only
sure.
reason why he made it black and white.
I've never said that that's a black
The
and white
reason why
movie.
black and white movies were made in the past was because color film didn't fucking exist. And
Right.
then when it started coming out, it was too expensive
Sure.
for everybody else to make it.
Sure.
And that's why they
Why
did black
was it
and
better?
white.
You still haven't said. Why was it better?
I'm addressing the fact that you can't. That's a loaded question.
I'm just
There's
trying to
no
cut
way
down.
you can
I'm just
answer.
trying to cut down on the exposition. That's all. I just want you to like.
Well, maybe people care. Maybe you don't care, but maybe people
But why
care.
did it affect you different than the color film?
Then you'll never
So-
watch it in color again.
Yeah.
So I brought up Nebraska. Okay, for a few reasons. One, okay, a non film school reason. The special effects looked way better in black and white. They did not pop out. Nothing looked like fabricated, or because there were certain moments where, like, you see the claw go in, and it looked fake. And
So it was the Kill Bill scene when she like murders all.
yeah,
the, okay.
sure, yeah, that's one thing for sure. Like, not one special effect. I was like, what? In color, there was a few times where I was like, that wasn't the best blood, or like that wasn't the best, whatever the fuck, right?
Okay.
Even the end when the little kids were attacking, and you see their arms like freeze and shit like that, like, and it breaks it. Like, it looked better in black and white because it didn't have that color. I mean, there's little plot elements that are different because it does change the overall feeling of the movie too, in terms of like the green serum that he injects into himself, like that shit that keeps him going
Right,
or
just
whatever.
looks white.
It's just black. It's just
Okay.
dark. And they even drop a line like the green juice or something, like, and you're like, oh, it's not green, but like it gives a different feeling.
Should have done a Schindler's List.
And made it green. I actually thought about that. I'm not even kidding. But I'm going to go film school, and I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm not going to go into it. So the reason why I brought up Nebraska, so Alexander Payne is ultra pretentious. All his movies have been pretentious, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just him as a filmmaker, because to him, that's what he wants to do. But he's 100% aware of it. So
I
when
think that George Clooney Hawaii movie wasn't that pretentious.
it was a good one. But I mean, his movies are his movies are okay. His movies are very specific. Let's put it that way.
Right.
His particular. He knows what he wants, and that's what he's going to get. Right. He did a Q&A at the LA Live Theater that I went to for Nebraska, and they asked him first question, why black and white? Because obviously, like you just said, no one fucking makes black and white movies, and it's true. Unless you're a fart sniffer, you're not making black and white movies.
Right.
I get it. Okay. He said, because when I go to Nebraska, I see black and white. Like that literally was his answer because he said there was nothing there and it was just so muted in the colors and the palette. Like that's what he was.
Carlos, did that sound percent?
No.
That still sounds like a pretentious answer.
Sure.
But I get it. I get what you're saying.
So that's what because it was plain. There's nothing
That's
there.
him saying that Nebraska is so
boring as fuck
and so
deep.
backwards.
So deep.
And so the movie's in black and white.
Okay.
And it's
that's
fine.
Fair.
Now, Logan obviously wasn't filmed in black and white. It was filmed in color. And he even said, like, they asked him, like, if you could do this in black and white only, like, was this something you always wanted to do? He's like, fuck no. Like,
it was a gimmick.
It was
for this one night.
It was really not like no. He was like he was doing photography and stuff, and he really enjoyed how it looked, and he liked how it was like they just played around with some things, and they liked how it looked because the way they shot they shot very contrasty, which is it brought out the cinematography in a weird way too, because it worked on both ways. Where I mean, the DP obviously doesn't need any more references, but like someone could look at him if they needed to shoot something more stylistic, for whatever in color, like just the highlights where they'd blow something out over here, but just the detail. I don't know, just little things like that, because it just felt natural, but it felt very grimy, like the world was very gloomy. It gave it a Sin City vibe, which is Sin City to me is very dark.
Right.
The world is dark.
Absolutely.
In despair, and everything's bad. And that's why in Logan, it didn't feel like...
So it took a dark movie and it made it feel even darker for you.
Yes.
Okay.
And and the black and white helped that for me because it helped it separate itself from X-Men movies even more.
Right.
But in a better way.
Right.
Because it is a separate movie. Like, it is its own fucking separate entity, even though it's a part of the universe or whatever. But by making it black and white, it even separated that even further.
Right.
It's definitely one for the fans. Like, I personally preferred the black and white version. I want to see the colored one again because now all I see is black and white when I think of the movie, which is weird. But, so yeah, I say check it out. It's something you might like, but, obviously the colored one is the one that's the real version. I'm not trying to play games. No, only the black and white version exists. No, I'm not stupid, but I'm just saying if I want to watch Logan again in the future, I might watch the black and white one.
You know what? I got to give it up to you, brother. You gave me a non-roastable answer.
A good answer.
It was a good answer.
Well, thank you.
I don't feel like raking you through the coals. I accept that.
Well, that's what I was thinking last night.
Okay, real quick. We both watched the UFC this weekend by ourselves on our couches.
I saw it too, by myself.
You saw it the next day though.
Doesn't count.
Yeah, you fucking pirated it.
Cuck. We paid.
Yeah, I skipped all of
We paid $60 for bullshit.
So
that the fucking undercard was better than the fucking main card.
All right, so I didn't watch the undercard.
Male chick.
I actually liked the main card. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was a solid main card.
When I pay for things, it needs to be fucking Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz 3.
Well, I feel that you spoiled yourself by watching the prelims. I think because I heard the undercard was amazing.
It was really good.
Everybody was saying it was amazing.
It was good.
That heavyweight fight was. I watched it.
It was good.
2 times.
It was good. Like there were brawls. Like it was very reminiscent of like McGregor and Nate Diaz, where they got to the end where they were so fucking gassed, but they were just too. There was a Mexican. I don't know. Anyway, you like the main card?
This was better.
I like the main card. Yeah.
Did you like the last fight?
The heavyweight fight?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a short fight, but
did it go the direction you were expecting? Do you think he has any competition?
I think JDS, he has competition once
Kane
is healthy. I think JDS should have retired 2 years ago. I don't know why he's still fighting. He's been like brutalized.
I thought he was done. Like when I hear his name,
you thought it was done already.
I think of like Chuck Liddell. Like not obviously they're not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Though, like where it's like what
he's been through some wars and he's lost a lot.
Exactly.
Lately.
Like he's fighting still. Like So well, okay.
So okay. The very first fight was Frankie Edgar versus Yael Rodriguez.
dude.
That was just that was a terrible fight. That was
That set a
worst
bad
matchup.
tone. You
That
know,
was-
maybe that's what it was.
That was bad matchmaking because this guy Rodriguez hasn't beat anybody, but he's hot. Like people want to see him fight, but they didn't build him up at all. They just threw him to the wolves, and they sent him stylistically to the worst person possible. You know, Frankie Edgar.
Which is bad for everybody.
I've never. It is bad for. It's bad for the UFC. It's bad for this young fighter. He just killed his momentum. I don't like Frankie Edgar. I've never liked him. I hate his style. He takes you down. He smothers you. His boxing. He uses his boxing effectively. Like on a technical level, people that are hardcore into fighting probably like they really appreciate everything he does. I just don't like him. I don't like his fighting. I don't like that he's 5'3". I don't know. I just hate his face. But it was a bad matchup because this guy's never faced a wrestler like this.
It was boring.
And and he didn't. The guy didn't come uncorked either. He didn't throw any. I was surprised. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, he just got taken down." Like, no, Frankie Edgar used his boxing to take him down. He got inside easily as well. So when I saw that, I was
he
like,
dominated the fight.
I was like, this guy's not as good of a striker as they've been trying to sell
Right.
him to be because he was losing on the feet.
Which just goes to show. I mean, okay, so is it bad for the UFC or is it not? Because if you think about it, I mean, they kind of just weeded out someone who probably doesn't deserve to be up there.
Well, the guy just has it. He's young. He's like 24. He hasn't.
Yeah, he's 23 or 24.
Okay, so good, exactly. So he fought a champion. So now I mean, he's not a champ, but you know what I'm saying.
But he's a
fought
former champion.
He fought, and now he needs to
the way
step
fights,
his game up.
You need to like build these guys up. You know what I mean? And for all we know, Frankie Edgar is going to be out of the UFC in the next 2 or 3 years, and they could have avoided him completely.
True, but the thing is,
they need right now. The UFC's only draw is Conor McGregor, and he ain't fighting for the UFC for a fucking while.
No, he's not.
Just give me another name. You can't think of any. I mean,
you think of Nate, but he's not going to fight unless he's with Conor. That's not going to happen.
The Diaz brothers have issues.
Yeah.
Then let's go.
John Jones.
John Jones, but is John Jones going to make it?
Who knows?
Who knows? We'll see when that fight happens.
Yeah.
But I mean,
but even then, John Jones is like.
what's his
if
name?
you look at pay-per-view numbers, John Jones is not the best draw.
What's his name just retired? I don't know how big of a draw he was, but
Not that.
He wasn't a big draw either.
no.
There's a
but-
lot of good
well-
fighters, and there's a lot of exciting fights to be had, but there's no draws to make money.
Sure, and I'm not the one to have a conversation about who is bigger than who, because to me, I don't pay attention to that because everyone knows Connor's big, but like other
Right.
than that, like to me, they're kind of all on the same playing field.
Yeah.
John Jones might be more famous than so and so, but like they're all to me, they're not superstars. They're not like mega stars.
There's a reason why they're pushing off the middleweight championship to try to get GSP to fight for it. Because that's how bad they're hurting. They want this guy who hasn't
$6
fought
billion.
in 5 fucking years to come back to fight for this title.
$6 billion.
Well, what I was gonna say though about the guy who lost, to bring it back to that fight. The thing that I give UFC and MMA in general like credit for, like that I really respect, and I wish like boxing would adapt this. You lose once, okay, come back and fight again.
Right.
Boxing, you lose once, you might not ever fucking be seen again.
Boxing's hard to come back from a loss, yeah. People respect that way too much in boxing.
Like it's just like, for example, let's say Chavez knocked out Canelo, right? Canelo's gonna come back because he's Canelo, but he'll never be the same.
He won't get that big fight.
No one will ever respect Canelo again because of something like that.
Right.
But like Dos Santos, or let's not talk. Let's keep to the fight. What's his name?
Yair Rodriguez.
Yeah. If he comes back and he
had
goes
a
on
little hype going,
and he comes back and he just fucking wins 7 in a row, people will oh yeah.
I'm with you on that.
But in boxing,
however, how I disagree is the guy was already building momentum now.
and they crushed it.
And he
Yeah.
just
Before
got
BJ,
knocked
who did he fight?
right back. He
To the start.
hasn't fought anybody.
He has
Before
to
BJ Penn, he fought
But
somebody.
nobody big.
He has to start over basically.
Yeah, he's got to start over.
But at least he has the opportunity to.
And not only that, but the UFC, Frankie Edgar just exposed a huge chunk in his armor, which people might not have fucking,
Take him down.
yeah, people might not have realized now. Like there would have been guys who are willing to engage with him who now they're just going to go for takedowns, and it might end his career, and that sucks for him. He needs to work on his takedown
He was
defense,
fighting
or to
on the
make it,
ground, though.
or
He
it'll
was
make
throwing
it better.
shots.
or it'll make it better.
You
But-
never know.
But I've seen it happen so many times. Like,
Yeah, but I mean,
I just think he wasn't ready. Frankie Edgar is the number 2 contender in that division.
it's just
He's the next in line to fight for the title.
all I'm saying is that the great thing about UFC is that you can lose.
Definitely.
You can come back. I mean,
now it's on him. He needs to work past that.
just look at what's his name, who was on the fucking undercard. What's his name?
Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah, Eddie Alvarez.
Who fucking cheated his way to a no contest. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault. He thought it was legal because Herb Dean fucked up.
Yeah.
But from what I didn't watch it, but from what everyone's saying, he was getting worked.
What happened was
It was a good fight up until then.
he had one hand going down the other guy, and that's when he kneed him in the head. Now, under the new rules, it would have been a legal hit. And they were fighting in like
Texas.
In Texas,
they
and
hadn't adopted the rules yet.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Explain it.
Yeah, in Texas, they haven't adopted the unified MMA rules.
So they still had the old school rules.
Right. So when the second knee came, both his hands were down, and that was technically the first illegal knee. But since they were in Texas, it was 2. And then they asked him, like, "Are you going to like?" They called the fight.
We hit him with 3 knees, didn't
it
he?
was 2.
Oh, okay.
It might have been 3, but 2 were illegal.
Right.
So it doesn't matter how many knees prior to those 2. But yeah, it was a doctor who called the fight.
Okay.
But point is, he went from fucking champion to undercard in one fight, but people still respect him. He's still Eddie Alvarez, regardless if he was getting work. I thought he looked like shit. And then as he was getting, it was this weird thing where this happens in fighters where all of a sudden you just get the shit kicked out of you, but you land one punch. And
Changes
then
the fight.
That adrenaline boosts back in,
It's
and
the
you're
only sport you can do that in.
and that's what was happening because he was getting fucking like I was like you're
Right.
done, and then he landed a punch. Carlos had died, I guess. He landed one punch. Good thing I'm the one talking. He landed one punch and was right back into it, and then he got the guy down, and then that's when the knees happened. It was unfortunate because I was actually getting into the fight at that point because that would have been
Right.
3 fucking slobber knockers.
Right.
Because each one of the 2 ones, each of the 2 previous fights that ended that way, same fashion where one guy was getting dominated and then landed a haymaker, and then it was just like fucking haymakers back and forth.
There's a difference between Eddie Alvarez and Yair Rodriguez. Though.
Oh, for sure.
Eddie Alvarez is a vet. He's been
He's proven.
12, 13 years.
Yeah.
now. He's at the end. He's on the backside of his career right now.
It's like so to use your thing, it would be like if Eddie Alvarez was on a 6-win streak and then he lost because he got mismatched and never became a champion because of it. You know, I understand what you're saying.
But he's already been to the top of the mountain. That's
right.
the
But I'm saying, though, to equate the 2 fighters.
The reason why he got bumped to the undercard is because he got starched by Conor. Like, bad.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't deserve to be the champion.
All right, next fight, and this is a fight, I don't know if you agree with me or not. This is the first time that I went fucking fight snob. I really liked the Masvidal Damian Maia fight. I thought, like,
It was good.
it was technically, like, on a technical level, it was fucking, like, it was just crazy.
Is that the one that went 5? Did it go 5
It
rounds?
went 3 rounds.
3 rounds?
It was the one where the first round he takes his back and he just stands
He
him
was
up against
holding
the
him?
cage. He was holding him
Oh,
up
yeah.
the whole fucking
triangle.
round.
The whole, and he was, yeah. No.
Now for the lay fan who doesn't know much about it, they see that and they're probably bored as fuck by it. But
Dude, that's intense.
I really appreciate that. I appreciate the fuck out of Damian Maia and what he does, and I appreciated Masvidal for fucking keeping the guy up and not getting choked out. Like, he had so many chances to get submitted, and he fucking fought against probably the best BJJ guy in the world right now. The BJJ MMA
I know,
fighter.
now I know 100% what match you're talking about. Dude, that was... I mean, even if you have, like, a fucking 50-pound kid on your back, like, after a minute... It's
not a 180-pound one.
Let alone, with all the fucking
And he had the
muscle, and he's
triangle with
trying
his
to, like...
legs.
You literally... dude, that's intense. Like,
Yeah.
if that guy jumped on my back, I would have collapsed.
It was a great fight. That's a fight I'll probably watch again, just because I listened to another podcast and I listened to Brendan Schaub and he said fucking that he was like he didn't think it was close at all. He was like Damian Maia dominated that entire fight and it shouldn't have been a split decision. But the announcers, even Joe Rogan, was like, "Oh, this is a close fight,"
Damian Maia won.
and maybe influenced the viewers because Damian Maia won the split decision because I gotta watch it because I remember from what I remember. Masvidal was giving it to him on the feet. But if I watch it again, at the end of the fight, he didn't look like he took any damage.
I wish there was a way on Fight Pass where, like, you can watch the fight without commentators.
I mean, you can hit mute.
Well, no, but, like, still have
Just
the
the
live
sound.
Right.
action of them.
I mean, that'd be a good idea. You should send him a
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you wanted to watch and critique the fight,
yourself instead of
Daniel, he just wants Joe Rogan's mic on.
That'd actually be like that'd actually be a cool feature if you could like, and then you could record it too.
it probably is watch. Like, it probably is some feature, and UFC's like, God, fucking retards. It's just channel 2 on the audio.
No. But I like that. I like the fight a lot. I thought it was. I don't know. I was just entertained by it quite a bit, and I really respect Maya because he's gone out and said like he doesn't want to hurt anyone. He goes in there and he's just that's why he tries to submit everyone fast because he doesn't want to like actually hurt people. And he wants to,
which is respectable.
And that's him promoting jiu-jitsu again. He's a throwback. He's like that old guy. He doesn't do anything but jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And it's still effective as fuck.
Because he's very good at it. Yeah,
he's so good. Like, you know exactly what he's going to do, and he still pulls it off. It's amazing. And that's why I got to give Masvidal so much fucking props. Because he was able to fend this. He was able to stop this guy from taking his leg off, just killing him with jiu-jitsu. Like, he trained so hard to nullify his jiu-jitsu that, I mean, he got a split decision out of it. Some people might think that he actually won the fight. I'm going to go with Maya. I think Maya had control.
I thought split decision was good. I mean,
yeah,
was,
I'm not. I don't
I
have an
would,
issue with it.
You could see them fighting again.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be like, why are they fighting again? There was clearly one.
I think they showed it on the screen too. Like Masvidal's had like 7 split decisions in the UFC or something. Like it's just. He's a tough guy to score, I guess.
Maybe you're right. Maybe the card was good. It was just the undercard was just that good.
They hyped it up for you, and then the Edgar fight was just so one-sided. That
it didn't end on a punctuation point.
The women's fight, and I don't know. Everybody says this chick's name different. Young J.
The main.
That's the first women's fight I actually enjoyed.
Dude, she had that fucking huge knot on her head.
She had that hematoma. But
dude, that shit was like a planet growing from her face.
But I don't know. I was just impressed by her stand up. Like she's really.
Oh, it was like it was no contest.
It's just smooth, like
flyweight.
And that's the thing. Even Joe Rogan said, because I watch women's shit more than you do. The other chick, like she's good,
right?
But that just shows you how much better she is. Like she made this good other. What's her name?
Andrade.
Yeah.
Apparently in Portuguese it's Andrade.
Andrade, there you go. That's what it is. Andrade.
Mexican. So.
She made Andrade look not bad, but like
they were different classes.
Exactly,
for sure, yeah.
Which is crazy because it's like what you were saying earlier. Like you just have different in terms of the athletes. You just have different strata of athletes. Mm-hmm. You have your Michael Jordans, and then you have Lonzo Ball, which. Yeah, he might be a fucking good basketball player. He's better than fucking all of us here for sure, right? Like we could train every day, but he's exactly once you start comparing those people, then it's like I don't know. But no one in the UFC is worth $1 billion, that's for sure.
No. Connor's the closest.
And he's not even $1 billion figure.
He's close though.
You think so?
His pay-per-views, I think I mean, you know who was $1 billion fighter?
Mayweather?
Brock Lesnar,
yeah.
I think he still has the pay-per-view records when he fought. Like
it was like a $2 million buy when he came back.
All of WWE was tuning into that shit
for sure.
Yeah,
because I always like Brock. I mean, I don't care if he juiced on this fight, but I wish there was like an MMA where they just juiced and it was called Juiced. It's like
all the old Pride fights. That's like in Japan. It's. I think some of the Japanese promotions it's okay. Like you just gotta watch a guy fight in Japan.
Because if you think about it, like take away the taboo, like American ideal of like you should do no steroids. These people are fucking beasts, and then you give them roids, so they become the fucking ultimate form of like pure. Human carnage, and then you get them. It's fucking final evolve form. Like, and you put them in a cage.
They still have to be good.
Yeah, they still have to be good, but they're jacked.
I think
so. They're like peak performance.
I think that's why people like the Pride fight so much because everyone was juiced out of the gate. Yeah, they had open weights, and there was way less rules. The only rules that they had which is a little different.
No biting and
those are the standard rules, but
no biting.
No elbows. You couldn't throw elbows in Pride.
Do you think elbows?
But you could throw knees on the ground. You could soccer kick. So there was some brutal fights.
What's soccer kicking?
Soccer kick is when you kick someone in the face when they're on the ground.
You could fucking do that.
Hey, you got Fight Pass now. Go watch the old Pride fights. You could. That's
fucking violent.
Was Vanderlei Silva and Shogun, who was like specialty was soccer kicking people.
punting
You
their
could
heads.
you could kick them in the face. You could stomp on their face while they were on the ground, and you could knee them in the face while they were on the ground. The only thing you couldn't do is throw elbows.
Like wrestlers.
Obviously,
and I'm actually against elbows because I feel like no one's been knocked out by an elbow. They just cut.
and then that really fucks you up because
Yeah,
it fucks your vision,
exactly.
swells, whatever. But that just seems super violent to me. Like that just proves that I'm not a fighter. Because if I trained like punching someone, whatever, but I don't know if I'd be able to. But I guess that's what training's all about. But I was gonna say I don't know if I can ever get rid of that like idea of
I think you need to
not
have
killing someone by
Have you
kicking
ever
them on the
even been in
I
a
face.
think
fight?
you need to have legit aggression issues to kick people in the face on the ground. Like
'Cause
you need
that's-
to be super angry.
Because you learn from you don't do that.
Right.
Like that's too far. Like
Yeah,
even on the street, like that's too much.
I mean, it looks dirty. I'm not gonna lie. It looks dirty when people are doing.
That's what I'm. It's just
Yeah.
like that to me.
There's no rules.
I mean, even on like World Star Hip Hop videos, like if it ever gets to that level, like that's usually when like
This is too much.
hitting
not-
someone while they're down.
it's just like it's too much because you're fuck. So that you could lose teeth. Like, you probably kill someone
No,
like that.
it's messed up. All right, well, let's go to. I think we've discussed the meat and potatoes. Let's finish this up on some these articles that
Yeah, let's do it.
sent each other. So I sent you an article today about this guy in Austin, Texas, goes on a date with this woman, and I guess she's texting while the movie started. So he gets so pissed off, he tells her to leave, and then after she leaves, he sends her a text asking for his money back. That was my exact thought. I was like, I could see Daniel pulling this shit. He fucking sends her a text saying he wants $17.34 back from the date because she was texting and like ruined his time. And she ignored him, so he took her to court. He's suing her right now
For $17.
for $17 and some change.
So yeah, so the other missing detail is he didn't
His
take her to
name is
court
Daniel.
immediately. He didn't take her to
No,
court.
that's what I said. Like she didn't respond to his text message.
She did respond, and she was like, "Are you serious? I'm not going to do this." There was a screenshot, and then it was like, "I'll see you in court" type thing. And yeah, he took her to court, and you know what? I'm on his side. I hope he wins because if you text in a theater,
Being petty.
you're a fucking whore.
So you didn't finish the article. The
About-
reason why she was texting and the reason why
yeah, but her friend or whatever needed her.
hey,
Okay.
she had an emergency.
If that's
and
the
the guy
case-
was being a dick.
if that's the
about
case-
Okay, sure. Tell her to leave, but don't.
If that's the
take her to
case,
court.
well, obviously I'm just kidding. I'm not. That's like too
Well, we
far.
don't know that.
Well,
I wasn't
mean,
sure.
yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. It's annoying, sure, but yeah. But if that were the case, real shit. If you have an emergency, you need to fucking leave the theater. Period.
Right.
You're not gonna have a fucking texting conversation. That's why it's bullshit.
Well,
Wait, did the movie start?
that's
or
the
was
thing
it
though
starting?
is if someone is willing to take you to court for $17, I feel like the guy may have exaggerated what actually happened in his head. Like it may not have been as extreme and severe as he made it out to be, but he's just that fucking anal or he's that neurotic
Petty.
and petty that he was like, oh, she was texting the whole time. She might have texted one or two times.
Clearly, this guy's fucking off his rockers.
Yeah, definitely.
No
she
doubt about it.
We don't even know if she was texting during the previews. Maybe she was texting during the previews. So who fucking
The lights
cares?
are still on.
You know.
Maybe.
You know what I
don't
mean?
know. You don't know.
And and I feel like he didn't communicate with her either. Like he didn't.
That's the one thing the article
Yeah.
didn't say. It was like, I asked you numerous times to be quiet, and you
Right.
refused. Like, I don't know. Obviously we're kidding about like we don't want him to go to fucking court over this shit and whatever because it's stupid.
we do want him to go to court.
Yeah, so we'll set
so
a
we can
precedent.
talk shit about it later.
Right. But the
He
point
wins.
But the point is though, it's just like it is kind of annoying. And if it is an emergency, then you need to leave. I mean that's the end of if someone was texting me and it was something
You're such
serious.
a woman hater.
If it's something serious happening, why would it take me 30 minutes of like texting back and forth? If
I think it was like 10 minutes.
What if she really liked the guy?
It says 10 or 15 minutes.
oh well, whatever.
And it was probably I think it was a first date. So she was probably like trying to make things work and hoping that it wasn't so extreme that she needed to leave.
I don't know.
She should have.
Whatever it is.
I don't know. On the petty meter,
That's on 10. That's on 11.
yeah, that's
an
up there.
11. Turn it up to 11 for sure. That's beyond me. I wouldn't do that.
Daniel even like.
I wouldn't take him to court.
So Facebook thinks saying men are
Oh.
trash is hate speech.
Do you agree?
On a technical level, It is.
You're
Yes.
You're trash for that.
On a technical level, it is. Does it bother me? No. Am I going to repeat people or report people for it? No. I mean, I'm going to put this out there. This is why
But
Trump,
is it hate
this
speech?
This is why Trump won.
Is it hate speech though?
Is it hate speech?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the people championing it. No. I don't. I'm dude. I'm so confused about
No,
this whole thing.
it is
because
confusing.
It's like
So-
it is, but it isn't, and it's
you-
a whole like, do you believe in reverse racism
but we
thing?
don't
Because it's
care.
kind of along the same lines.
Okay, hold on. All right. If you
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you before you get into it. Let me ask you a question. If you could choose, and I'm not don't
I'm not gonna say anything. Go
don't
ahead.
consider yourself being a sellout or anything like that. If you had a choice before you're born and you were given an option to be born as something, what do you think would have a better chance in life? A white
man.
a white a white woman or a Latino man? Who's got a better chance in American
White
society?
woman.
There
Because
you go.
everybody wants a white woman.
So the retort is always like you know what? Well, men are privileged. Men have this like patriarchy, whatever.
Hold on though. If you're a busted white woman, I might
Well, now
go
we're-
with a Latino
now
man.
we're splitting hairs.
I'm just saying though, because if you're attractive white woman,
I mean, that's not my attractive people in general, but that's not my point. My point is, as a white woman, you will probably have better opportunities. May have been born into more
well,
privilege
white anything.
than. I bet. But see, this is where it gets hairy because there's plenty of poor white people out there. You know
Well, that's
what
why
I
I'm
mean?
saying attractive.
Okay, but
Even attractive poor woman can go somewhere,
right. So I'm just saying, I don't
especially
know.
with online dating.
It's a weird fucking term. Like, I understand why people are upset, but at the same time, these are the same guys that voted for Trump that are like pissing off everybody. Like, you know what? Well, you can't say that, because this is, whatever. I don't even want to I don't even know how to like express myself, but I feel like this is the reason why Donald Trump is our president right now. Because of stuff like that. Because the people that were the alienators are feeling alienated, and you're turning it into something even more. It's just another division between us.
Sure, I respect that. But there's one thing that I have to say about all of this.
Okay.
And it's in relation to the article, and I'll post the link in the description if people want to read it. It was the stance of that you can't even consider the fact that men are trash is like hate speech. Like, it's automatically wrong in terms of
Right.
like people are reporting this, they're wrong. You know what I mean? But in some weird way, and this, so I'm going to read, I wrote down the quote. This is the last paragraph for the article. It says, she said two things. This is not the last paragraph, but this is one thing that bothered me. As she explained to Gizmodo, obviously not all men are trash. However, the ones who are really upset about it are the ones who absolutely are, which is what you said, right? Kind of was what you said.
It's another generalization on top of a generalization.
Correct. And then, this is the last paragraph. More to the point, men are trash is not hate speech. Largely, men who act offended by things like men are trash or white people suck are doing it to make a point, not because they really are offended. They seem to think being offended by a slur is a fun activity they're being left out of. But I'm sorry, dudes, that's not how it works. Men are trash is simply not the same thing as sexist attacks on women, because you don't face the systematic oppression that makes sexist slurs so toxic. If you're a man and someone calls you a stupid trash man, wow, I'm sorry you had a bad day. If someone calls a woman a bitch or a slut, that's tinged with millennia of oppression. That's what it says. Facebook acting like these are all the same thing to put men are trash in the same category of speech, same category of speech as slurs, shows that, yet again, it just doesn't get it. Okay, that's how it ends.
See, and that's like
This is my problem
At the
with the
beginning of
article.
the statement, I was like, okay, she's making some points, but then towards the end, when it got super SJW,
That's my problem.
Yeah, then I'm like, okay, you lost me.
Because now it becomes about a political agenda.
Right.
Now it becomes about controlling. Not instead of just saying, hey, you know what, Facebook? Hey, this is fucking stupid. Like, come on now. All of it. Then it becomes about the millennia of suppression from all the way. And this and sure, okay, I acknowledge that it's not fucking fake.
Right.
I'm not saying it's fake. But you know what? If that's the mentality, and I wrote this on the shitter as I was reading this article. If you disregard like all this shit now, like if you just say the men are trash, it's eventually going to snowball. Like things snowball, right? It might be small now, but if the things in society switch where women start to, receive a more elevated position in society and
Right.
things like that, then men are trash could become in a more evolved form than that. It could go both ways.
It could turn into a bigger slur.
Exactly. It can become a bitch or a slut, whatever it is. And so, I'm trying not to sound like a meninist or whatever the fuck it's called. I thought feminism was about equality. And if you're going to be equal, it is the fucking... If you say men are... I understand what she's saying, that there's not as much weight, but you're still purveying hate.
I mean, I don't know if this is new wave feminism or not, but I think we've already discussed it in other episodes, like how the difference between feminism and new wave feminism. It's like the feminism used to be about being equal to men. New wave feminism is about being better than men.
Better than men.
Which is,
superior to men. And we need to break the patriarchy and all this other shit.
It's crazy shit. I don't, there's just a lot of issues with it. I don't personally, I don't give a fuck. It doesn't offend me.
It doesn't. Well, I mean,
but it does. But like I said before, it gives
to talk about.
It gives fuel to the fire. It gives fuel to these other people who aren't like ostracized, but feel like they're being ostracized.
Is this still rolling?
Yeah, it's still rolling. It gives those people who are complaining about affirmative action in colleges. It gives, or at jobs, and like it's giving fuel to those people, and it's making them angry. And
that's why Trump gets elected.
That's why Trump gets elected. That's why people like that get elected, because you're feeding these people and making them think that they're, oh yeah, well I can't.
No one likes to be
about
told
you.
that they're wrong,
right?
In any way,
absolutely,
and not in an explicit way where it's like you're wrong and you can't do this.
Right.
What? Don't tell me I'm an American. I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, that's a genuine response I have all the time.
And then, like I said earlier, men are trash. You just made a super general ass term. White women have it easier than Latino men and black men do. That's a fucking fact. But now you're saying all men are equal. All men are, even it's just a stupid, super generalized.
All men are trash. But what about the men who?
I'm not gonna report anybody for posting that.
Me either.
And I think the guys that are cucks. But at the same time, it's like, dude, don't. You shouldn't even write a fucking article about it. Like, just
let it be. It wouldn't even be a thing. Like, no one would even know about it, and it would just. Who cares?
Because now you're just arming people with more ammo.
And if Facebook takes it down, then Facebook takes it down. Oh my God, they're a private company. They can do whatever the fuck they want. People seem to forget that.
So be it.
Right? Isn't that true?
Yeah,
Facebook
absolutely.
can do whatever the fuck they want, but people seem to believe that, when Facebook does this, Facebook does that they have to adhere to some fucking standards that they have, but they don't.
First Amendment has to do with the government arresting you for saying shit that they don't like you saying. That's the First Amendment. As a private entity, they don't have to like anything you say. Your job can fire you for saying shit. The First Amendment does not protect you from your job, from Facebook, from Twitter, and from me punching you in the face for saying something wrong. That First Amendment does not protect you from that.
It's true. It's 100% true.
The only thing it stops is the government arresting you.
Yep.
That's it.
And
learn it, love it. I forgot the third part.
I don't apply it. I don't
live
know.
it.
Live it. Yeah.
Learn it, love it, live it.
And that's 100% true. And that's the triple truth, Ruth.
But I think that's going to do it for us today.
And on a high note,
tune in next week. We're gonna review Alien, the new Alien movie. I'm excited about it, if not a bit scared. I don't know how Daniel feels.
Could be good, could be not good. I don't know.
But that's going to do it for us. Thanks for listening, guys. You know the drill, dngtalk.com. We'll see you next time.
Like us, subscribe, follow.
Do it all, fuckers.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. All right, cut it.